Leave me something in the comments below as to estimating the size of this span right here, and I will. I'll see if I can give you the correct answer.
It looks very similar, but it's a completely different beast altogether. So this is the first deployed Wildcat in the Royal Navy. Incredible piece of kit. A couple of our AATs are standing by, so I'm sure if you've got any really technical questions that require some high-level answers, they'll be able to give it to you. I'm a lowly officer of the watch. I work on the bridge. I take the ship from point A to point B, so I can give you working knowledge. These guys are the ones that actually. So essentially, it's a multi-role attack helicopter. It's quite small, so if the Canucks or the Canadians feel like they're peeping, you see it's massive.
This aircraft is the first one made of this type. It is a Wildcat, is what it's called, but it is the first one to be put on a ship. So this is very exclusive right now.
This is general. We've called it deterrent. So if anything gets in close enough, it's a machine gun at the end of the day. It's going to keep on working for 50 minutes. Very trustworthy. So we have. I have to talk a little less loudly, you'll be able to hear me. So this is the next stance on our tour here. In addition to my core role, I'm also a boarding officer on boards. So if, like we were talking about on the flight deck, if we come across any drug runners or any pirates at sea, we can launch our own tactical boarding team on board the ship. We can go out and we can basically subdue that vessel and then take them prisoner. To do that, we have a number of pieces of kit. Primary is our two Pack 24 seaboats. We've got one of these on the port and starboard sides. Essentially, sort of 4 meter long ribs, top speed of about 40 knots on these. So essentially, in a river condition, if the sea looks like this, we can do 40 knots. It's a bit bigger than it. Obviously, the speed reduces. We've got two of these. They can each carry 6. So our team would be 10. We'll split it into 2 flights. So these can carry 6 people each, plus the coxswain and his assistant back here. Alternatively, these can be used in many different roles. So we can take out all the seats. We can load up to a ton of stores in there as well. Also, what we can do is we can tear the 2 front seats attached, as I was showing you back there, the GPMG. So we've got a mount that we can put in the front, and we can have someone standing there with the GPMG, which again just adds a little bit more of a visual deterrent. Behind you, behind the young chaps here, you see sort of a generic piece of kit that we wear when we do it. Luckily, at the moment, the sea surface temperature around here is about 28 degrees, which is essentially a warm bath, which is quite nice. So we wouldn't actually wear this black suit. We'd wear this when we were in UK waters where the sea surface temperature ordinarily is below 60 degrees, which is pretty cold. So this is just a life-saving tool. Also, you see on our dummy there, we've got the helmet, we've got a life jacket, webbing. We'd also wear body armor, and then beside him, as we walk past, you'll see a search bag. So when we go boarding, we take with us pretty much any tool we think we might need to break into another vessel. We don't do it. First off, when we go on a vessel, we do a security sweep to make sure it's safe for us and for the people on board. And during that, we look at what we call combat indicators. We look for any sign that the vessel's up to no good. So perhaps it's a small panel on the wall that's been taken off, and you can see by the screws it's probably been moved around a lot. So to us, we'd see that and we'd think, okay, I'll log that, I'll put it back to the ship, because at the end of the day, all our boarding is run by lawyers back in the UK. Or if we're working in the Caribbean, potentially lawyers who work for the US Coast Guard. So if we're doing Caribbean ops, ordinarily we'll embark a US LEDET, so a Coast Guard LEDET, so law enforcement detachment. In which case, when we do a boarding scenario, we use our boats, and we essentially become a tool, another US Coast Guard cutter. So we'd hoist the US Coast Guard ensign, and for all intents and purposes, we become a US vessel. We fall under your rules and regulations.
How do you know that the drug dealers?
How do we know? That's top secret. So before we get to the pointy end of the ship where all the weapon systems are, right here we've got what we call our swimmer of the watch display. So the worst thing that could probably happen to us, short of all out war, is one of our own sailors going overboard. A nightmare scenario for us. So we practice it regularly every time we sail. We practice what would we do in a man overboard scenario. So what you can see here, this is called a MOR, it's a man overboard recovery stretcher. And behind you can see what we call threads. In fact, that's a chain. It's a bit lighter. What we do is we physically throw that overboard into the float. So we pretend every time we sail, someone, the worst thing that could happen is falling overboard. So that goes in the water. We throw some Perry buoys, which you can't see, so that, you know, the big orange round buoys, so we throw some of them in at the same time. What we do is the ship does a 360 around it. We use the seaboat, we launch the seaboat, and we time how quickly we can recover that person. So in the Royal Navy, the fleet standard time is 8 minutes. So we've got 8 minutes from the alarm of that person going overboard to getting them back up to the ship. It's quite quick. We like to think we're quite good at it. So this goes over the sides. And what we do, if we can, we'll use a seaboat because it's the quickest possible means. However, like I said before, the seaboat is limited to sea state. So when we get to about sea state 5, so that we're looking at 25 to 30 knots of wind, that's giving about 2 meters worth of sea. The seaboat becomes harder to launch and arguably more dangerous. So what we do is we use what we call the swimmer of the watch. That is physically one of our sailors who dresses up in this kit here. So this orange life suit here. Again, 28 degrees of sea. Probably doesn't need it, but that's his SOP. He wears a couple of fins. He's got his own buoyancy aids. So what we do is, myself as the officer watch, we drive around and stop the ship with the man in the water, approximately 50 to 100 yards, just over there. So literally, as far as you can throw a stone that way. We'll stop the ship in the water, and from this gantry here, you see here we've got some clips. This opens, so the swimmer will stand here, jump into the water, swim out, recover the man overboard, bring him back, and then we'll put him into the stretcher, which will be lowered to the sea, the height of the seawater. We'll bring it back up and inboard. So pretty much any junior rate on the ship can do it, but normally we give it to you would call a boatswain's mate, so a seamanship, the guy who works in the bridge at this flag, so he can swim and he does all of that. The other bits you can see here are strops that we use to get him out of the water, but essentially all the kit you can see here is our primary life-saving equipment. So if we find anyone overboard at sea, we're duty bound to recover them, and that's the way we would do it. The other bit you can see here is just rigging. So if we can also lower this. So for instance, we came across, you hear about it in the Mediterranean quite a lot at the moment, with the North Africa to Italy. So what these vessels do is they get out to the middle of the sea and essentially they abandon ship, because they know if a Coast Guard or a military ship comes by, we're duty bound under SOLAS, so safety of life at sea. If we see that, then we're duty bound under international rules and regulations to recover them. So that's what they're doing essentially. So they overload the ship and then they all go into the sea, and then we recover them. So what we could do there is we'd lower that, and then, like you see on the side of a sail ship, we just climb up beside us.
That would hurt so good.
So what we're looking at right now, so we have 8, this is the Harpoon silos. So our primary surface-to-surface missile. So gone are the days where 2 ships come along each side each other and just fire, you know, kind of each other. Ordinarily now, if we're going to engage on the surface, it's going to be 50, 60, 70 meters. And the way we do that is we use Harpoon. So it's an American system. Probably familiar with all the US ships have got it right about here. Essentially, it's a very capable surface-to-surface missile, and we can launch up to 4. How many can we launch at a time? 4 at a time? Yeah. And it's got it can take waypoints, so it doesn't. If we're here, if we imagine that's 80 miles away, they're not just going to go like this. We can insert waypoints, so we can make missiles come from wherever we want. So they can go up, swarm in. What we're trying to do is make it as hard as possible so the other ship can figure out what we're doing. Obviously we only carry 8, so we don't regularly get engaged in long range surface engagements with other ships. But when we do, we're using a new system, it's pretty good.
I looked up Bobtown that.
So right now we're
2010.
We're on what we call the forecastle. So the forecastle. The etymology of that word, forecastle, literally. So if you think of an old wooden ship, so like your USS Constitution, the front and the back ends are pretty raised. Before that, in the 1500s, the ships were even higher at the front and back. So it's essentially the the way the word comes from is from two castles. So when ships were originally built, at the front and the back ends, they had raised areas where the archers and the would stand, and they'd literally build seagoing versions of castles. So forecastle, we've shortened it now to forecastle, so that's F-O''C''SLE, forecastle. It is the pointy end of the ship. So what you can see down here is, that's the easy way to think of it. We've got the blunt end at the back and we've got the pointy end at the front. So you can see the radar, the anchors just up there. So we carry two anchors, they weigh about a ton each. So we've got one that goes right over the edge and one that sits on the side. We call that the bow and the sheet anchor. So we use that for anchoring or in an emergency situation. So potentially if we're transiting up the Mississippi like we did yesterday, and another vessel has a machinery breakdown, something happens to it in the middle of the channel, the quickest way for us to stop ourselves is to put all our engines to reverse and drop an anchor. They're pretty messy, they're pretty loud, but they do the job. The other thing you've probably noticed in the front of the ship is this big gun here. So this is what we call the 4-5. So
who's on cleaning duty?
What?
That is nasty.
Oh.
Somebody left their water bottle.
What the heck is that?
Somebody left their water bottle.
the gun's about between 25 and 30 a minute. But that is literally limited on how quickly people like the weeks can.
They're two down bloke, and
slow
not
down
just
to
me
speed.
as far as the gun. You have probably about 3 or 4 people. You have a catch on the gun.
The bridge. That's up with the red line. So on show here we have a selection of damage control and firefighting equipment. So aside from something doing on the site, the worst thing that can happen to us.
How do you like this? How do you like this so far, John David?
We're in the middle of the ocean. The only people we can rely on is ourselves. So everyone on board is essentially a real party.
Huh? But it's not showing up on me.
It is.
You notice we go around firefighting everywhere we go, hydrants. So although we're going to over there. So what we do here is select.
What do the flags represent? Like,
You want to show you? I'm trying to remember what they all mean. But pretty much. No. So that one there, that red one with the 2 white spots, that's Corpin. So that's to do with manoeuvring at sea. That one with the blue and white stripes, that's flags 6. I can keep on going on. They all.
LETME Galt Ship's Office.
how are you doing your first day on the job, well,
We're just nice.
Watch riding a trolley. So is Matthew from the Chaos Edge, and I have no idea. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please subscribe for more. Like, comment. I'll put the channels that were featured in this video down below. And I want you to go check them out now. Now, what are you still doing here?